Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are looking at a massive shift happening right now in the tech landscape. We're officially moving away from the era of quirky experimental AI chatbots and stepping firmly into the age of autonomous, secure, enterprise-grade AI. Today, we're really zoning in on how Anthropic is establishing a completely new benchmark for secure deployments in business-critical applications. They've just released some incredible additional monitoring and alignment capabilities designed specifically to improve reliability and transparency. It's all about building safer autonomous AI systems, and honestly, it is fascinating, and it's completely rewiring how the world's biggest companies operate.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. 1. The shadow AI dilemma. 2. Anthropic's enterprise safety shift. 3. The agentic SDLC revolution. 4. Guardrails, privacy, and pricing. And finally, 5. Scaling safely in production.
Starting right off with Section 1, the shadow AI dilemma.
Let's kick things off with a pretty stark reality check. I want to ask you this directly. Do you actually know where your company's proprietary, confidential data is going right now? Because the immense stakes of undocumented employee AI usage, well, it's probably the biggest unmanaged risk in business today.
This brings us to the whole concept of shadow AI. It basically happens when well-meaning employees use personal or consumer-tier AI accounts to get their company work done. I mean, recent data shows 80% of companies currently permit third-party tools, and nearly a fifth of developers are already baking AI into their products. But here is the massive catch. This shadow usage creates a total compliance nightmare. Your proprietary intellectual property is suddenly subjected to much weaker consumer privacy rules, and there's zero corporate oversight.
And here is where the illusion of safety gets incredibly dangerous. As revealed by AMST Legal, there's a severe pro trap out there. So many users assume that dropping $20 a month for a pro or team account automatically means their data is safe. It's absolutely not. By default, consumer and pro accounts still train on your data. And get this, they've recently increased their data retention policy to a staggering 5 years. That is a 60,000% jump from previous policies. Crazy, right? On the flip side, true commercial or enterprise accounts like Claude for Work or API access explicitly prohibit data training by default and lock things down with strict privacy. Knowing this difference is literally critical to protecting your business. Moving right along to Section 2, Anthropic's Enterprise Safety Shift. Recognizing this massive and very real enterprise fear around data privacy, Anthropic is pivoting ruthlessly toward commercial safety. Just look at this number, 34.4%. For months, OpenAI totally dominated corporate AI, but according to the RAMP AI Index, Anthropic's Claude actually surpassed them in business adoption. They hit a 34.4% market penetration compared to OpenAI's 32.3%. They absolutely stunned the market. And why? Because they doubled down on the safety, transparency, and monitoring tools that enterprise leaders actually trust.
And this quote right here brilliantly illustrates the why behind that massive shift. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei pointed out that heavily regulated industries, we're talking financial services, healthcare, life sciences, they are aggressively switching over to Claude. In these sectors, accuracy and reliability are completely non-negotiable. They absolutely rely on Anthropic's newly enhanced monitoring and alignment capabilities to ensure their operations are rock solid and secure. Which brings us to Section 3, the agentic SDLC revolution.
Now, getting into the technical core of this solution, what's really interesting here is the shift from basic chat assistants to fully autonomous systems. We are looking at the continuous agentic SDLC. AI is no longer just a fancy code completion tool. It's evolved into an autonomous agent that actively builds, tests, and evolves software systems on its own. And the humans? Well, they step back from the routine typing and step up to be the directors, guiding the critical decisions and ensuring safety protocols are met. Let's demystify the jargon a bit and walk through these stages, because it's super cool. First up, autonomous development, where the AI is writing back-end and front-end code while human devs review and approve. Second, autonomous testing. The AI actually generates test cases and runs functional and security tests itself. Third, governed CI/CD. Here, AI manages the rollout and scores the risk, while humans hold that final override switch. And fourth, and this is a big one, autonomous observability. The AI actively monitors software telemetry, detects anomalies, and actually triggers self-healing patches, all while a human oversees the escalation. This kind of full-stack observability is exactly how Anthropic is vastly improving reliability in these critical deployments. Okay, on to Section 4. guardrails, privacy, and pricing. So if the technology is running semi-autonomously, how are businesses actually structuring their policies to keep it on the rails? Well, research shows a massive gap out there. Pioneer organizations are actively deploying strict guardrails. For instance, 93% of pioneers track defect metrics. They institutionalize audit logging, and they use AI-driven anomaly detection to capture that speed-quality dividend safely. But on the other hand, the observers? They are basically flying blind. They lack safeguards, leaving them twice as likely to hit regulatory roadblocks. In fact, 9 out of 10 observers can't even quantify the impact AI is having on their quality. Let's talk economics for a second because, let's be real, safety and compute power do not come cheap. Anthropic is fundamentally shifting its enterprising model. They're ripping out the old flat-rate $200 and $40 per seat subscriptions. Instead, you pay a much lower platform access fee. $20 for technical staff, $10 for business users, but all your actual AI usage is billed via metered token consumption. You also have to agree to mandatory monthly spend commitments. And those cozy 10 to 15% API volume discounts, yeah, those are gone. This is a highly strategic pivot to deal with sector-wide compute pressure and GPU shortages. Procurement teams really need to pay attention here, because this variable cost model could definitely raise your total cost of ownership if you don't negotiate it carefully. And finally, Section 5, Scaling Safely in Production. Let's look at the sheer, real-world scale of all this through Anthropic's expanding alliance with consulting giant PwC. The scope of this commitment is just breathtaking. PwC is literally training 30,000 of its U.S. professionals specifically on Anthropic's Claude code. And the goal? To deploy agentic AI to tackle an estimated $2 trillion with a T in enterprise technical debt sitting inside corporate operations right now. This isn't just an internal playground. They're taking these safe AI agents and embedding them straight into client production environments. What we're witnessing is a total shift away from legacy, manual, soul-crushing paperwork toward completely AI-native digital workflows. This is absolutely vital in highly regulated sectors like finance and life sciences, where compliance is quite literally everything. PwC is using Anthropic's enhanced enterprise tools to massively compress the path from an initial business idea to actual measurable value capture. And speaking of measurable value, the hard ROI here is wild. Look at this jump. 10 weeks down to 10 days. By deploying Claude, an entire insurance underwriting cycle was completely compressed from over 2 months down to just a week and a half. I mean, that kind of speed opens up entirely new lines of business that simply weren't economically viable before. Across the board, clients are reporting up to 70% improvements in delivery. And the wins just keep stacking up. Remember, this isn't some far-off future theory. This is actively running in enterprise production today. Cyber incident response, slashed from hours down to minutes through automated containment. A totally stalled HR transformation, they spun up a working prototype in a week and went fully live in under 2 months, processing thousands of daily transactions. Even a massive COBOL mainframe modernization is currently tracking perfectly on time and under budget. It's a real game changer. Which leaves us with one incredibly critical thought to wrap up on. The technology to do this securely, with the right advanced monitoring and safety guardrails, is literally here today. Anthropic has completely changed the game for enterprise AI safety. So the big question is your organization actually ready to move from pilot to production? Are you prepared to face your shadow AI risks, tackle the new token economics, and scale up securely? Because right now, the pioneers are out there capturing the value, and the observers are just getting left behind. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it gave you some fantastic insight into the secure future of enterprise AI. See you next time.